we had the first batch of students coming here in the month of August.
In fact, I must really commend that first batch of students who joined ISER without knowing what they are up to.
They did not know what ISER was or what ISER will be, and therefore we had to do a lot of talking to parents because the parents were extremely concerned.
44 students were about to land up. My immediate task was to make classrooms, laboratories, computer, library, and provide them hostels. And that's where NCL chipped in and helped us a lot in establishing the first 44 students.
We started with very minimum of physical space and a handful of faculty. We had one lecture hall, hardly 3 rooms to be used as labs.
Young, very enthusiastic, naive, slightly tense students arrived when it was pouring in 2006 June. It was a tough task as a warden for me. I had to think about their well-being. I had to think about their welfare. At the same time, the students had lots of expectation, lots of aspirations. We had to meet their demand, their expectations, their standards.
And for the first year, it was all kind of, homekeeping, home, establishing the home. That's the way we went about that. It was a great exciting time. We used to worry about what the food the students eat, how they are provided transport, are they coming to the class, about their health. It is a great thing, as though like a father looking after children. That was the first year, that was the experience.
I had to be tough as a warden so that students will follow the rules. At the same time, I had to be friend so that they will feel homely in our institute.
I was involved in setting up the library here at that time. So procuring books, making discussions for forming consortia for e-journals.
As a new institute, we have a lot of teething problems. We need to deal with them very carefully, with lots of perseverance, with lots of hard work.
There were actually different aspects for the curriculum in Pune, which is different from the other ISERs. We took a very bold decision that our students will have free choice of courses across all disciplines. So this was a very important step in the development of our curriculum.
Now, what makes ISER so interesting and above many other institutes which give masters is the fact that it allows you to take up different courses, things which you want to learn.
So I have personally taken courses from biology, chemistry and physics despite me being a mathematics major.
I was allowed to study something which is not offered in the institute. That talks about the degrees of freedom you have here. I took a course in bioinformatics, I took a few physics courses.
The freedom which ISER gives, I think, is very important.
ISER's education system brings out a more open attitude in you.
But from the part of managing the system, it was really challenging. So scheduling courses, scheduling lectures and labs, conducting exams, in addition to teaching and research, we were all doing all these things, sharing all these things, but that was great fun.
The feeling of working in a new institute, of being a part of something exciting and challenging really overcame these obstacles.
Not like the usual courses that most professors have to teach most of the time. There's a lot of interesting variety of courses and a lot of excited students to work with.
The faculty have a lot of freedom to develop new courses and new curricula.
In about another year, we had to now start appointing our regular faculty. That was about 2008. And by that time, all our administrative procedures, etc., were rather than streamlined. So we took a huge space of transit accommodation very close by. I think that was one of the best decisions which I made as a director, because we could establish very professional laboratories, lecture halls, library, computer center, as though we are going to stay forever. That helped us attract good faculty. When young faculty come, they would see what is it immediately they can do. And without having any laboratories, even the rudimentary laboratories, it's difficult to attract good faculty. If we do not do research right in the beginning, which was the basic foundation principle of ISER, it will not lead us anywhere. So we started doing research even under very adverse circumstances. So my first priority was to select the best of the people, not only who are academic, but also who have good temperament and understanding to start with the institution, mentor the young students. And I was lucky. My initial hires were all very good in that way. How do I know that the quality, the faculty whom I have recruited are good? I think our record in the last 4 or 5 years shows that many of these faculty have actually in the peer group, in that age peer group, they've all received recognitions, whether becoming young scientists of INSA or getting Swarna Jayanti fellowships or young associate of Indian Academy of Sciences. In the last 2-3 years, every year IISER Pune is bagging 2 or 3 such awards, which says that our faculty are really up to the national and even the international levels. And my next challenge was straight away to the campus building. The architect would give a structural features, but he will give a form, whereas the function for the buildings was decided by the faculty. In fact, they decided what kind of housing they should have, and it had a great influence because that gave them a sense of ownership in the whole enterprise of IISER. We were very, very lucky that the NCR had already given us the land, so we could straight away start the building process. 2010, we were lucky. The Prime Minister came and unveiled the foundation stone, and that was in a way the first landmark for IISER Pune. And in about last 4 years, I think we have completed the academic complex, which is about 30,000 square meters and a residential area of about 80,000 square meters. And it's now in June 15th. We are again fortunate that the President is coming to dedicate the whole complex to the nation.
Well, they are given introductory courses itself, they get exposure to labs and experiments which are designed carefully by faculty who are doing research in those areas.
So in fact, certain courses don't even have textbooks. They have multiple textbooks, and they have, primary research references, sources as material. And so this enables a student to be in touch with what's happening around the world and what's happening in the frontiers of research. And it also helps the faculty because we keep ourselves in touch with what's going on.
But unique to IISER Pune is a semester-long project course which we have introduced from their third year onwards. So they get an opportunity to work with one faculty during that third year onwards for one full semester.
Because when undergraduate students see professors doing research, it brushes off on them.
It gives them first-hand experience of the cognitive requirements, the practical requirements of conducting scientific research. And from very early on, they get to see hands-on and a lot of the time even participate in research that is truly unique and creative. So they're doing real research.
The first 2 years are on the breadth of science, the next 2 years on the depth of science, and the 5th year is very, very unique in IISER is the research experience.
And by the time they come to the 5th year, they are exposed to all the research methodology available here, the areas of research in IISER Pune. In general, they have a very good view about what should they do during their 5th year project.
Our academic program and the research program are really linked.
Imagine your first biopractical to be given a microscope and a screwdriver and to be asked that, come on, take the microscope apart and try and put it all together.
You're not students who are here to study something from a book. You're fresh out of 12th and you're treated like a PhD applicant. Not just a PhD applicant, mind you, a PhD student who's making a project proposal.
You can start working with the faculty and concentrate on your research apart from just classes and exams.
They weren't really academics. They were part of your daily life.
If you have an idea of what you want to do, then I think you will really enjoy here.
Many of the faculty over here are very different from what you would call the typical Indian professor.
Attend a class by some professor in the morning and then go back and work with him again in the lab. It gives you a completely different feel about how you interact with the professor.
The professors were extremely approachable. All you had to do is knock their door and please, can you solve this question for us?
He's not just your teacher anymore. He's more like a mentor.
Coming from a rather rigid Indian education system, it was a great break.
One stark difference that you will see in IISER is the age of faculty that are teaching. So you will find that a large number of faculty are actually below 40 years of age.
It's a very friendly department. It's a very young department in mathematics.
It allows us to relate to the students much better, and the students also can be more free with the faculty, and that creates a nice, conducive atmosphere for interactive learning.
There was no such thing as a dumb question in class.
It has developed in me an attitude in which I have begun to question things.
There was a lot of learning by doing.
I clearly see the whole picture first, which I think the research methodology as IISER has taught me.
You need institutes like IISER where people are trained to think hatke. I mean,
So if you are in ICER, you are already either a scientist or you are on your way to become one.
This final year thesis served as a head start to my PhD.
We have a good number of biologists who are working in various fields in biology, and we have a good number of chemists.
We have managed to recruit some of the best people for research.
You can develop new problems that are relevant to both chemistry as well as biology.
What is biology? Biology is all nothing but a set of chemical reactions. What are those chemical reactions? Most of it we have not understood those reactions happening in a cell. And those chemical reactions are governed by physical laws. And the physical laws have a mathematical manifestation. So the nature does not distinguish between physics, chemistry, maths and biology. It is humans that we have done for our own understanding.
Created a very vibrant, very intellectually vibrant environment.
We have a state-of-the-art laboratory facility with high-end instruments and equipment. And together, this is knit by a community of faculty who come from different research background.
So all in all, we have managed to create an area where creative, world-class, pioneering research can thrive.
And stimulating environment for all of us to discuss and interact.
There are opportunities to do collaborative work, to do interdisciplinary work.
It gives a great opportunity to many people, faculty, staff, students.
It's a good place to be. There are a lot of seminars and academic activity, very stimulating.
I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised at the vibrancy of this place. I was very thrilled at the standard and quality of the students and faculty here. Honestly, I had not expected it. Everything here was much better than I had come prepared for.
I was at the Oklahoma State University where that university has been around for more than 100 years. And this is something new, brand new. Everything is happening, everything is being put in place.
And I was lucky to come at a time when all the planning work of the first stage of this campus and everything had been done. I could just see it sprouting in front of my eyes and do whatever little I could do to help that and give it a little bit of a push.
At that time when I joined, there were about 12 or 13 people in the maths faculty, counting assistant professors on contract, inspired faculty and so on. And now we are a little over 20. So the numbers are almost doubled in the last 2.5 years.
We are also strengthening our faculty in all the other areas. We are open to faculty hiring in every area.
We've been getting some fantastic applications. We made some very strong hires. And now the hope is some really strong and powerful theorems will start coming out of ICER.
The other things which were very, very consciously decided, myself and my senior colleagues, was that we must pick up areas which become very important 10 years down the line. We must get into not the fashionable areas, but really the high frontiers of research, evolving concepts. You get them into today, 10 years down the line, you are the literature and you lead them. Most of the people who do experiments with commercially available instruments, they're limited by what the instrument can do. On the other hand, when you ask a question, when you design an experiment, you build an equipment which can actually do those experiments, and that makes all the difference.